Communication is one of the biggest ways that we talk and get through and do things in life today. Without communication, it's very hard to get to know someone, to do your job, to do anything in life, essentially. The ways that we communicate are very important. And I think that along the way, somewhere, people have forgotten the tools to communicate. And I hate to say that because, I would love to believe that we are all good at communicating, but it's just not true. It's just not true. And I think that the best way to help ourselves improve our communication is by talking about it again and again and again and practicing it over and over and over because effective communication is so important. So, here we go. Let's just do some tips to get to healthy communication. So, what are those? Okay, here's the obvious: speak clearly. And that doesn't just mean make sure what you're saying is loud and clear, it means make sure what you're saying is understandable. Make sure that you can clearly speak what you're trying to say. I myself have troubles with that. It's very hard for me to say things the way that I mean things sometimes, and I have to backtrack. And so, therefore, I need to work on speaking clearly. And we do need to think about actively listening. It helps people know that you are actually hearing them, right? So, does it mean that you are talking over or interrupting? No. It just means that you're giving them, the other person that's communicating to you, the understanding that you are hearing what they say, whether it's a head shake or uh-huh or okay, or even saying, well, that's a great idea. Whatever it may be, make sure that you are actively listening and that others know that you are. If you are gazing off in space, playing with your phone, doing whatever, they're not going to feel that it's a very healthy communication, right? Then the next thing is giving and receiving feedback, right? It helps when you are talking with somebody and you're having a conversation that you are giving and receiving feedback. It's not all one sided. It helps you improve your understanding. Like there's a purpose for being the one that's giving and receiving feedback. Like that's just imperative in a healthy communication line. Um, some few things that people don't think about is one of the biggest things that I have problems with is that I will talk to people and they will say, "Well, I had a text conversation and I thought they understand." Well, let's not use text. There are some people that just cannot understand or communicate appropriately in a text message. You need to have the in-person conversation. That way you can have verbal and nonverbal communication. There's no misunderstandings. There's no, well, I thought you meant this because you put an exclamation point. There's no second guessing. You literally have a conversation and you're able to communicate effectively, and you will find resolutions, or you'll find that you have great communication and great conversation with those that you are having in person conversations with. Sorry, guys. The next would be patient. Be patient with whoever you're trying to communicate with. Just as I said earlier, I have a hard time speaking clearly at times. Like at the end of the day, I'm really tired. I've worked with a lot of people. And so sometimes my brain is thinking what my mouth can't spit out, right? So I'm going to need somebody to understand that I might need you to have a little bit of patience with me, right? And in return, I'm going to have patience with others, or at least try. I don't always do the best at this, but I try to be patient, right? It's just something that's healthy, it's helpful, and it allows people to know that you care and that you're listening. right? So that's one thing. And then the last thing that I've been telling people, because some people just cannot clearly communicate appropriately or effectively through using their voice, don't be afraid to write it down. Don't be afraid to write down what you're wanting to communicate. If you need to write a letter to your significant other to tell them exactly how you're feeling so that you can get it out there without getting confused or lost in a conversation, and it allows you to be clear and concise, don't be afraid to write it down, but write it down in a handwritten letter. Don't send a quick text, write it down. Complete a formal email. That is a way of communicating. Okay. Because there are times that I have clients that literally have something important to say, but cannot find the ability to verbalize it because of their own thoughts and feelings and what they're going through in the moment or the situation or the trigger or whatever it is. There's just not the ability to actually verbalize it. So I do tell them, write it down. Write it down, allow the other person to have understanding, and allow the other person to be able to hear what you're saying, even if it's them hearing themselves read it. At least they're being able to see what you're needing to say or wanting to say. And then they can take from that and respond to you in a way that's effective for them. I think that the reason that communication will be always something that needs to be discussed is because it is something that people always struggle with, believe it or not. Employers, employees, husbands, wives, children, whoever, everybody is affected by communication. And so many people struggle with it. And it does take practice. It does take hard work and want and desire to work and improve the way that you communicate. It truly takes compassion for you to want to get better at doing something. So, by all means, practice communicating with the wall, with this camera, practice communicating with your spouse or with a friend. Do whatever you need to do to improve your communication styles, to allow you to be the better person and to be able to hear somebody and listen and actively listen, and to also be able to share your thoughts and opinions. So, never think that you don't need to work on communication. There's always room for improvement, and we all just have to be willing to look at improvement. What can we do to improve the situation? So, that's what I have for that. Please remember, as always, to like, share, and subscribe. Guys, thank you for watching and have a great day. Bye, guys.